Namaste, Prakash here. Welcome to the next edition of Dharma Tales. Let's debate. How often do you find a person who is born on the wrong side of Dharma, standing up for Dharma throughout his life? More so, standing up for women, which is not easy even in those days when kings and the people taught women to be something which is like a dispensable stuff almost. We are going to look at one of the fascinating stories from Mahabharata of a person who finds mention in the opening chapter of Bhagavad Gita by none less than Lord Krishna himself as a valiant warrior from the side of Kauravas. Here we are talking about the story of Vikarna, considered to be the third son of Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, or the third most important son. Other than Yuyutsu, who was not born to Gandhari, yet who was considered a Gaurava because he was born to Dhritarashtra, he was one more who really stood on the side of Dharma, and he was the one who was able to stand up and talk. So much so that Bhim, who had sworn to kill all the Kauravas by his own hand, found it very difficult to deal with Vikarna, the person whom we are going to talk about, when it came face to face. Vikarna is also considered to be, from the root of the Sanskrit word, if you read, it will come through as something that a person who has no ears or a person who has large ears who could really gather and listen to all the sides of what Dharma and Adharma is. He really came to the forefront when the game of dice was being played and when Pandavas had lost the game, and finally when Draupadi was brought to the court, when all the valiant warriors, all the big people, all the names that you would dread to even see face to face, were all keeping quiet. He was the only one who stood up and spoke in the court. And in fact, he was echoing the same words of what Draupadi had been saying in the court, that what they were doing is wrong. He was, of course, sidelined, and people still went ahead. Duryodhan went ahead with his plan of disrobing Draupadi before she was saved by Lord Krishna. This is one story which will remind you that to stand up for Dharma, you don't need to be on the right or the wrong side. You just have to see Dharma with ears really open, and that's what Vikarna did. So much so that when the war actually broke out on the 13th day, he was one of those who helped Abhimanyu to be stopped. And after he entered the Chakravyuh, he was one who was also instrumental actually in cornering Abhimanyu. But it is said that he was not in favor of 6 or 7 warriors encircling Abhimanyu and killing them. On the 14th day, when Arjun had taken a vow to finish off Jayadratha, he was one who was sent by Duryodhan to stop Bhim, who had been running through the Kauravas, and he was killing everybody there, and to help Arjun because Jayadratha was hiding right behind the wall which had been created by Dronacharya and the Kauravas. When actually he comes face to face with Vikarna, in fact, Bhim beats him up, and finally he says that I don't want to kill you because you are the one who stood for Dharma and you are the one who spoke in favor of Draupadi when the disrobing was happening. And how come you are actually now standing on the wrong side? He says that that was my Dharma then, and this is my Dharma now. That was the Dharma that I had to stand up and speak of the daughter in law of the family. And this is the time for me to stand up because I am standing behind my king. Please do not show any mercy on me. Let's fight. And finally, when Bhim kills, the only time Bhim cries for someone on the Kaurava's side, other than, of course, he cried for Bhishma Pitama when he got killed as well. But he really cried when finally Vikarna dies on the 14th day of the battle. Vikarna is one of the unknown characters, unsung heroes. Yet, Lord Krishna finds it so important that he gets a mention of him right in Sloka 8 and 9 of chapter 1, where he speaks highly of Vikarna. That is the quality of Vikarna for you. If you look at these stories, specifically this story of Vikarna, you will find something very, very, very pertinent. Even in this age, even in this age when you find that women don't get the kind of respect that they should, how many of us really stand up and speak in favor of them? He was the one who did it in those days when kings were ruling the roost, and it was not easy for someone to stand up and talk. That was the value that he had actually displayed. He was one Kaurava for whom you would really have your heart going. I would want you to go to the section below the YouTube video that you are seeing. Go to the comment section. Add what are the views that you have, what are the thoughts that you have on the dharmic questions that come up in your mind. What does it actually signify to you? And please ensure that you add your interpretation of what this story means for you. Dharma Tales, let's debate till we meet again. This is Prakash signing.